Namaskar. Welcome, Geeta ji.
Namaskar, Ashok ji.
So, while we are here, Eternal Flame of Inspiration, in this series, today we are starting the reading of Raj Yoga, which is, of course, very important. And without further ado, as they say, let us begin. And why don't you take the lead, Geeta ji?
Sure, thanks. All our knowledge is based upon experience, what we call inferential knowledge, in which we go from the less general to the more general, or from the general to the particular, has experience as its basis. In what are called the exact sciences, people easily find the truth because it appeals to the particular experience of every human being. The scientist does not tell you to believe in anything, but he has certain results which come from his own experiences and reasoning on those experiences when he asks us to believe in his conclusions. He appeals us, he appeals to some universal experiences of humanity. In every exact science, there is a universal basis which is common to all humanity, so that we can at once see the truth of the fallacy of the conclusions drawn therefore. Now, the question is, has religion any such basis or not? I shall have to answer the question both in the affirmative and in the negative. Religion, as it is generally taught all over the world, is said to be based on faith and belief, and in most cases consists only of different sets of theories. And that is the reason why we find all these various religions quarreling with each other. Those theories, again, are based on beliefs. One man says there is a great being sitting above the clouds and governing the whole universe, and he asks me to believe that solely on the authority of his assertion. In the same way, I may have my own ideas, which I am asking others to believe. And if they ask a reason, I cannot supply them with any. This is why religion and metaphysical philosophy have only bad name nowadays. Every educated man seems to say, oh, these religions are only bundle of theories without any standards to judge them by, each man preaching his own pet ideas. At the same time, I must tell you that there is a basis of universal belief in religion governing all these different theories and all the varying ideas of different sects of men in different countries. Going to the basis of them, we find that they also are based upon universal experiences.
Very, very relevant, Geeta ji. This is the kind of discussions which are
Very,
happening even now.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
as
Totally.
Vivekananda, yeah, and Vivekananda ji mentioned about universal basis of religion, and I am sure as we read more, we will learn more. So I'll continue
Yes,
if you, unless
please.
you want to add something.
No, this is beautiful. Whatever is written, like you said, it's relevant even today. It's amazing, how long ago he wrote this and he
Yeah.
said this, and so
So,
relevant even today.
right. In the first place, I'll ask you to analyze all the various religions of the world. You will find that these are divided into two classes: those with a book and those without a book. Those with a book are the strongest and have the largest number of followers. Those without books have mostly died out, and the few new ones have very small followings. Yet, in all of them, we find one consensus of opinion that the truths they teach are the results of the experiences of particular persons. The Christians ask you to believe in his religion, to believe in Christ, and to believe in him as the incarnation of God. To believe in a God, in a soul, and in a better state of that soul. If I ask him for reasons, he says, no, it is my belief. But if you go to the fountainhead of Christianity, you will find that it is based upon experience. Christ said he saw God. The disciples said they felt God, and so forth. Similarly, in Buddhism, it is Buddha's experience. He experienced certain truths, saw them, came in contact with them, and preached them to the world. So with the Hindus. In their book, the writers who are called rishis or sages declare that they have experienced certain truths and these they preach. Thus, it is clear that all the religions of the world have been built upon that one universal and adamantine foundation of All our knowledge, direct experience. The teachers all saw God. They saw all their own souls. They saw their eternity. They saw their future. And they saw what they preached. Only there is this difference that in most of these religions, especially in modern times, a peculiar claim is put before us. And that claim is that these experiences are impossible at the present day. They were only possible with a few men who were the first founders of the religions that subsequently bore their names. At the present time, these experiences have become obsolete, and therefore, who have we have now to take religion on belief. This I entirely deny. If there has been one case of experience in this world, in any particular branch of knowledge, it absolutely follows that this experience has been possible millions of times before and will be repeated eternally. Uniformity is the rigorous law of nature. What once happened can happen always.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. So the test of religion, as is being clarified or explained by Swami Vivekananda, is the way you look at science. They said that there is a principle which can be universally applied. Then it becomes a principle of science, something like that. So
It's very logical. The way he's explaining is also very logical rather than just a belief. I have to believe because somebody is saying it without giving any reasoning. That is another thing that one has to.
absolutely, and it is quite empowering. So it is not that somebody else got it and you are not going to get it. He says if one got it, everyone can get it. So, but then again, like in science experiments, you need certain conditions. So I
Yeah.
think he will also refer to how you can have that experience. You cannot be, let's say, having alcohol and seeking certain kind of experience which you will have at the morning time without having eaten anything. So I mean,
No, I
one
like the fact that he backs it up with the reasoning, with some kind of a conviction, and he gives
absolutely,
a reason for that. So, which is more believable then.
absolutely. So let's continue.
Yeah. The teachers of the science of yoga, therefore, declare that religion is not only based upon the experiences of ancient times, but that no man can be religious until he has had the same perceptions himself. Yoga is the science which teaches us to get these perceptions. It is useless to talk about religion until one has felt it. Why is there so much disturbance, so much fighting and quarreling in the name of God? There has been more bloodshed in the name of God than for any other cause. So true. And the reason is that people never went to the fountainhead. They were content only to give the mental assent to the customs of their forefathers and wanted others to do the same. What right has man to say he has a soul if he does not feel it? Or that there is God if he does not see him? If there is God, we must see him. If there is a soul, we must perceive it. Otherwise, it is better not to believe. It is better to be outspoken atheist than a hypocrite. The modern idea, on the other hand, with the learned is that the religion and metaphysics and all search after a supreme being is futile. On the other hand, with the semi educated, the idea seems to be that these things really have no basis, that their only value consists in the fact that there are strong motive powers for doing good to the world. If men believe in God, they may become good and moral and so make good religion, good citizens. We cannot blame them for holding such ideas, seeing that all the teachings these men get is simply to believe in an eternal rigmarole of words without any substance behind them. They are asked to live upon words. Can they do it? If they could, I should not have asked, have the least regard for the human nature. Man wants truth, wants to experience truth for himself, to grasp it, to realize it, to feel it within his heart of hearts. Then alone declare the Vedas will all doubts vanish, all darkness be scattered, and all crookedness be made straight. Ye children of immortality, even those who live in the highest sphere, the way is found. There is a way out of all this darkness. And that is by perceiving Him who is beyond all darkness. And there is no other way.
Wow. Perceiving Him who is beyond all this darkness. There is no other way.
Hmm.
This this comes as a very, if I say, pleasant surprise, how his language flows with clarity and a sense of light, and it is relatable for a modern mind also. You and me have experienced at our home, kids asking questions, and not
Absolutely.
just us, but most of the parents finding it difficult, and then saying that these kids are not accepting what we are saying them. But what Swami Vivekananda says that unless they experience, so in a way, he used the word hypocrite, and that's what many of many of us turn out to be, because we don't want to work to have our own experience.
So he said, "You, I would rather be called atheist than a hypocrite," in that
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, the reasoning has to be there, and I feel the kids nowadays also, whenever even we talk to them, they want the reasoning to
Correct.
believe the things.
So I think we'll continue, because I
Yes.
also personally feel sometimes that only reasoning can take you to up to certain distance, and then maybe there will be uh, acceptance. If I don't use the word belief, without acceptance, moving forward only with reasoning may not work, is the way I feel. But let me read further.
Hmm, hmm,
The science of Raj Yoga proposes to put before humanity a practical and scientifically worked out method of reaching this truth. In the first place, every science must have its own method of investigation. If you want to become an astronomer and sit down and cry, "Astronomy, astronomy," it will never come to you. The same with chemistry. A certain method must be followed. You must go to the laboratory, take the different substances, mix them up, compound them, experiment with them, and out of that will come a knowledge of chemistry. If you want to be an astronomer, you must go to the observatory, take a telescope, study the stars and planets, and then you will become an astronomer.
hmm.
Each science must have its own methods. I could preach you thousands of sermons, but they would not make you religious until you first practiced the method. These are the truths of the sages of all countries, of all ages, men pure and unselfish, who had no motive but to do good to the world. They all declare that they have found some truth higher than that the senses can bring to us.
Hmm.
And they challenge verification. They say to you, take up the method and practice honestly. And then, if you do not find this higher truth, you will have the right to say that there is no truth in the claim. But before you have done that, you are not rational in denying the truth of these assertions. So, we must work faithfully using the prescribed methods, and light will come.
Ah, so
So
beautiful.
actually, what I was saying, in other words, he has said the same thing. He concludes,
Absolutely.
you have to subscribe to the prescribed methods. And if you say, no, no, I'm not going to do this, let's say if somebody say, if you fast, this is how you're going to feel. And you say, no, no, this is BS, I'm not going to fast, and you will
But you
feel
see,
light if somebody says so.
but I think in here there is a little bit of the faith that comes in too. That have faith in the person to at least try
Correct.
and then make your decision. Yeah, I. This is so
Very
beautiful. Very nicely said.
wonderful, wonderful.
I'll continue.
Yes.
In aquatic knowledge, we make use of the generalization, and generalization is based upon observation. We first observe facts, and then we generalize, and then we draw our conclusions or principles. The knowledge of mind, of internal nature of man, of though, can never be had until we have the power to first observing the fact that are going on within. It is very easy to observe facts in the external world, and many thousand instruments have been invented to observe every point of nature. But in the internal world, we find no instrument to help. Yet, we know we must observe in order to have the real science. Without a proper analysis, any science will be hopeless. More theorizing, And that is why we all psychologists have been quarreling among themselves since the beginning of time, except those few who found out the means of observation.
So I'll repeat the last few lines, Geetaji. Without a proper analysis, any science will be hopeless.
Hmm,
We are theorizing, and that is why all the psychologists have been quarreling among themselves since the beginning of time, except those few who found out the means of observation. And
beautiful.
here, when the reference of observation is, this is the observation of mind, I believe. And I think in Raj Yoga we will learn more about that. But
Yes.
as we were advised by some of our friends to keep it around 15 minutes, so we'll conclude this Raj Yoga first part of the chapter 1, and we'll continue from this in the next session.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, Geeta ji.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
This is very beautiful.
हम्म, आपको पानी की जरूरत है? हैं?
Hmm.
पानी लीजिए.
मैंने कुछ खाया जिससे
हम्म, कंटिन्यू करें. गीता जी, ये स्क्रॉल करता हुआ अच्छा लगता है या रुका हुआ ही अच्छा लगता
इसमें
है? ये जो नीचे लिखा हुआ रहता है ना अपना,
ये
ये,
जो स्वामी विवेकानंद
हाँ
चैप्टर 1 पार्ट 2
हाँ, ये
ये
रुका रहे या घूमता रहे?
घूमता भी रहे तो अच्छा लग रहा है
ठीक है.
क्योंकि एक स्टेशन है ऊपर वाला जो है
हम्म, शुरू कर रहा हूँ.
हम्म,
एक बार मैं वापस ऐसे ही हटा देता हूँ ताकि मुझे ढूंढने में आसानी रहेगी.
उसी के आगे से कर रहे हैं ना
हम्म,
जो
अभी आपने कंक्लूड किया था क्या या मैंने किया?
अभी आपने किया था कंक्लूड
ठीक, तो आप शुरू करिएगा. नमस्ते.
नमस्कार
Geeta ji, Jai Swami Vivekananda. And as we started reading